Oh, hello ladies and gents. This is unfortunate, isn't it? The Halo series we were all looking forward to. It seems now we're getting confirmation that they've basically changed it. This is a direct comparison to J.J. Abrams and his universe, as a comparison to the original timeline. It's a way that they can go off and just make loads and loads of changes, and this is basically confirmed by Paramount. So the Halo TV series, it still could be good, FYI. So this isn't me just being super negative. It could still be good, but this doesn't sound great. This is kind of one of those things that you hear and you go, well, of course they are. And that's never a good thing, because it just has your, what aspersions you would have casted on the show seemingly confirmed. So let's dive into it, ladies and gents. Before we do, if you do fancy it, you can follow me over on Twitter at Mr.H and a link to my Instagram will be down below in the description box. I've also got a second channel which you might like, you might not, of course, but check it out. It's a bit of a vlog channel. Yeah, you might like it. But anyway, the Halo TV series to completely change Master Chief's character. Focus on CALNE for the human perspective. So not only are they apparently changing Master Chief's character, but they're also going to be focusing on this woman, well, the little girl, I guess, not really a woman, is it? For the human perspective. So again, that on face value, not horrendous that they're going to focus on another character for the human perspective. Obviously, a lot of people will want, Master Chief. Like, I get that, but it's the information contained within that makes us go, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds a bit crap. So anyway, let's go. This article's linked down below as well. Hot off the heels of the controversial announcement that the series' protagonist will be unmasked for his upcoming Paramount Plus debut. In my eyes, I mean, they've basically done that in the game series. It doesn't need to happen. It's a bit like Judge Dredd, We know what Judge Dredd looks like because he's a clone. So we know what he looks like because he's got a brother who's maskless. So we do know what he looks like. But it doesn't need to happen. So it is, I can see the controversy. But anyway, the Halo TV series has now revealed that not only will their version of Master Chief be a near completely different version of the iconic character, but that heavily advertised teenage female lead Quan Ah will be the focus of the series, as she provides a human perspective on the story. Again, human perspective in a storyline makes a lot of sense. It's like saying, it makes a lot of sense in certain avenues. It's like saying the Predator's not the lead in The Predator, right? It's not going to be, is it? Because it can't speak bloody English. It's a bit different when you're dealing with someone that can speak English and can still be our point of view character. Master Chief can still be our point of view character. So when you hear this, again, it's how it aligns to the particular property. Having a human perspective works on multiple things, right? You don't need it on Master Chief and Halo. You don't, because Master Chief can be our human perspective. He can go through character arcs where he learns humanity, or starts to feel basic emotion and humanity in that respect. He doesn't need someone to then be holding his hand throughout this show being the human perspective. He might be a Spartan, but he's still a human. It seems a bit of a dense decision that Paramount made here. Really short-sighted, I guess, is the best way to put it. So these upcoming details regarding the upcoming live-action adaptation of the Bungie-created sci-fi first-person shooter franchise were touched upon by the Paramount Plus 343 Industries head of Halo Transmedia, Kiki Wolfkill, who also serves as an executive producer on the series. Now, loads of people have said that 343 Industries have basically ruined the series. I mean, this is, I guess, all but confirmation that you need it, eh? But anyway, so the showrunner Stephen Kane and Master Chief actor Pablo Schreiber, during a recent interview given to Den of Geeks' Megan Krause. So this is literally from them. So at the onset of the interview, Wolfkill explained to Krause that the team had decided to set Halo in a new Silver timeline, similar in concept to the J.J. Abrams Star Trek film series Kelvin timeline, in order to allow them the opportunity to make changes to the franchise's original continuity and lore. Again, that in and unto itself, not a terrible idea, but the motive behind it is the negative, and they obviously just wanted to change it for changing its sake. From the very beginning, it was clear that in order to let the story evolve and grow the way it needed to, no story needs to go in that way. You wanted to tell a story, and that's the story you're telling, and then you had to change things on the back end of it. In order to really go deeply into these character arcs, we would need to make some changes, explained Wolfkill. Why? That doesn't make it... You don't need to do that. Again, it looks great. Like, I'm a big proponent of the way it looks. This looks beautiful. Anyway, she would continue. Sometimes it was even just a perspective change. Sometimes it was something you just didn't get a view into from the game or even the books. We knew we needed to let the story breathe on its own. To what end, though? At the end of the day, it all comes down to being able to make moment-to-moment decisions. Right. Basically, oh, wouldn't it be cool if... That's literally what they're saying here. Wouldn't it be cool if we could do this? Yeah. But the law stops us. Well, we're going to change that. Wolfkill elaborated. Every day there were decisions to be made about. Do we do something exactly as it was done in the game? Or are there good reasons to do it differently? Wouldn't it be cool if? And if so, how do we keep it true to the spirit of Halo, but at the same time keep the voice of all these incredible creators coming through? Look, no offense, right? And I'm sure you've got some fantastic writers on board here. They don't need to have their voices heard. People wanted to watch Halo. That's it. We didn't want to hear these specific creators' voices coming through. We wanted to watch a good Halo series. Please just provide a good Halo series. I mean, it's done now. It's in the can. But for future reference, we just wanted a Halo series. Especially since it's been... we've been waiting for this for how long? So according to Krauss, one such example of a major change made to the series' lore is the historic fall of Reach. So the Covenant attack that wiped out most of humanity's Spartan soldiers, at least until 343 Industries got to work on the series. There you go. And left the Master Chief as one of the last, if not only surviving a result of Earth's super soldier ambitions. In the games, this event happens prior to humanity's discovery of the first Halo ring. Which is, why you play as Master Chief, and he's so iconic, and people are like, oh my god, wow. However, in the series, the fall of Reach has not yet occurred. Most likely as a way to allow the production to feature more Spartans, because they want to sell some toys. And he says this, so you don't want to just tell the game in television form, but you know what, mate? People actually want to see that. Kane said of the Silver Timeline approach, you want to have a conversation with the material. The game has been around for so long, the canon is not only deep but wide. There are opportunities to dig into the canon and find characters that were only hinted at, and the story is only half mentioned, and dig in and invent new stuff. Right, okay. Or you could just create new people and new stories within the canon. You could do that, couldn't you, really? Like, come on. So anyway, here's the most egregious stuff that people will be a bit like, well, why then? So the discussion then turned to the topic of the series' principal cast. But more specifically, it turned to Yeren Haas Kwan Ah, an original series character whose juxtaposition of her hatred of the Spartans against the necessity of fighting alongside the Master Chief will serve as one of Halo's main narrative focuses. So let's hear this, right? She has an animosity against the Spartans. She begins as our eyes on the Spartans and what we expect them to be. But we know who they are, ladies and gents. This is really, really stupid choice because we know who the Spartans are. We've played them for how many years now? 20 odd years or something these game series have been out for? I literally can't remember. They've been out for a really long time. So we know who the Spartans are. We know what they're supposed to be. We know how they're supposed to act. To sit there and say, well, this is what we want them to appear like, it completely negates the fact that this will be appealing primarily to fans, and now you're just basically pissing in their face. So anyway, as she learns more about them, her ideas will change, but she stands on her own as a character on the outer planet who feels she's meant for something else. Basically, a bit of a Mary Sue. Following a massive tragedy, Kane further noted, she's off on her own and has to discover what her true purpose in the galaxy is. The other thing we get from her is a very human perspective on the Spartans and these events and all these large-scale elements. Kwan is a grounded human perspective on that, which I think is definitely unique. But is it necessary? Can you not get the same, can we not achieve the same thing, but with Master Chief? Yes, you absolutely can. Unequivocally you can, in fact. So anyway, she then explained that though the show's creative team was fully intent on deviating from established series canon, 343's Industries still held a writer's boot camp to familiarise them with its concepts and events, as well as explore how to connect viewers with Halo on a personal level. So they even, goddamn, really? For me, the boot camp really had two levels to it. What does Halo mean, and what's the emotional resonance of Halo? And what are the core values and deeply seeded aspects of Halo. These are at the very heart of everything we do, regardless of lore or making sure weapons are named correctly or look the right way. There's a very basic understanding of what Halo is about and why it means certain things to certain people. Why, after 20 years, do we have the fans and audience we do? Well, probably not from making stupid dumb changes like you're about to do, but never mind. So here's Master Chief. Right? So Master Chief, Kane asserted that his backstory would be one of the elements to be changed in the series. Jump from the video games to television, changing Master Chief from a highly indoctrinated super soldier brutally trained from childhood to fight on behalf of the United Nations Space Command to a mindless automaton whose memory has been erased and his emotions actively suppressed. Okay. So this is a statement from Hollywood Reporter. Rather than viewing Master Chief's opaqueness as a hurdle, Halo makes the character ignorant of his past. So his memory has been erased and emotions chemically suppressed. So the question, who is Master Chief, becomes a journey for Schreiber's character, as well as the audience, across the debut season's 9 episodes, as he finds himself defying orders to protect a young girl. The key is that Master Chief is a bit of a cipher. In the game, you are Master Chief. If you don't read the books, you don't know the backstory. But in general, he stands in for all of us as we play the game. So this is a chance to go in under the hood, so to speak. But it's entirely irrelevant. You don't need to do that. The first season explores John's character by approaching John discovering himself. He is a man dedicated to honour, integrity, courage and serving humanity. But he isn't fully formed out. At least in our description of him, he's not fully aware of himself as a human being. You just made him a dunce then. If you know the canon, you know the history of how he became a Spartan. And it's not a pretty history. Hence why it's really good. You know, it's the fueled, it's the flawed hero who goes on a hero's journey. That's what I think actually makes the world of the game so interesting. He's not just a clean-cut superhero type. His past is sort of dark. He's both a victim and a hero at the same time. But why'd you change it then? Without giving too much away, what Master Chief wants is to be a constantly shifting tapestry based on the new information he's being faced with and how it challenges his sense of self and his sense of duty and honour. We know the UNSC kidnapped and essentially conscripted child warriors who then modified to super soldiers. While we know the end result, they end up Spartan 2s, which have been our best weapon against the alien invasion. It also opened up a host of moral dilemmas and the question marks as to whether it was a moral decision. Ultimately, in conclusion to his and Wolfkill's time with Kraus, Kane summarised to the reporter, we want people to see that John is the most lethal weapon humanity, the most lethal weapon a human can be. But in trade for what he paid for the price is his humanity. That's the story of everyone in this season. Everyone is discovering the limits of their own humanity, or what was lost to their humanity, because of all this giant existential war. I'm not going to lie, this sounds very unnecessary. Flawed hero's journey is fantastic. It's great narrative. It works really well. People usually really like it. You know, you don't want a clean-cut hero. You want someone to go through some character arc for us to then better like them towards the end. One of the most beloved female, movie characters of all time, Sarah Connor, goes through a huge character arc, hero's journey to become who she is and who we know and love. So now you're just removing a lot of that from Master Chief. Why? So dumb. Don't like the sound of this. We don't need a human perspective. We can have that function through the hero's journey of Master Chief. So that's completely irrelevant. It could work out in live action. It could work, but it's still very, very unnecessary. But what do you guys think? Drop your thoughts down below. Give the video a like and a share. Thanks so much. Take care.